Welcome to Deadly Dames. Now, this is a very special movie review. The guys over at the YouTube channel, The Horror Appraisal, have gone that extra mile as horror fans and made a movie for themselves called 12 Pole. They very kindly sent me over a screener of this movie, which I was really happy to receive, which I watched last night. Now, they have asked that I don't do any major spoilers for this because the movie hasn't been released yet, which I was very happy to do. So the main plot of this story is a group of guys that you can tell are best friends who have sort of put their life savings into buying a rundown property with the idea of doing it up and selling it for profit. But as always with horror films, the property that they buy is not what they seem. Not what it seems, I should say. So what I really liked about this movie was the atmosphere. A lot of the atmosphere was created with the camera shots, so there were very wide shots that were on there, similar to The Witch. Now, when I compare it to another movie, I'm not taking anything away from 12 Pole. I just think that the techniques that they've done are quite similar and add to the movie, just like those other films I'm comparing them to. So it builds up a lot of atmosphere and the idea of isolation, similar, as I said, to The Witch and to John Carpenter's The Thing, this idea of they are on their own. I thought that the music to this was almost like an extra character. I actually absolutely loved the music to this, and I would definitely buy the soundtrack if it came out. The soundtrack to me was kind of similar to The Witch again, and it follows in the sense that you couldn't imagine those movies without those soundtracks. Well, this is kind of what 12 Pole was like. Without that soundtrack, you wouldn't have got the same eerie vibe building up and the suspense that was built through the use of the soundtrack. I liked the idea, especially towards the end of the movie, because there are women in this film, but the majority of the cast is male. So they kind of do a similarity with, again, John Carpenter's The Thing, where it's, because you do get a different atmosphere when it is a group of men without the damsel in distress there to save. It builds on, especially when it's a group of men who are best friends, on the suspicion and the overall tension that's building amongst them, which I really, really liked. So I'm trying to think of ways to say it without spoiling anything. The effects in this movie were also outstanding, considering it was a movie which is not been made backed by a massive studio. The effects don't falter at all. Very gory, very bloody, without giving anything away. There's certain things that happen in horror films that always make me cringe, and it happened in this. I was like, oh, as soon as I seen it happen to one of the characters. Overall, I absolutely loved this movie. It is a bit long for a horror film, but please stay with it, because the ending of this movie ramps up and just had me on the edge of my seat till the credits rolled. I didn't see a certain part coming, which I absolutely loved. I also paused at one stage, and when I came back I noticed something that I hadn't seen before, because a lot of this movie is quite dark and it plays on shadows. And I think if you rewatched it, you would see things that were done with the use of shadows that you hadn't seen previously, just like I did myself. I definitely would watch this movie again. In fact, I would buy this movie, and as I said, I would get the soundtrack because I really, really enjoyed it. Go and support 12 Pole on YouTube and on Twitter, and go and check out the guys on The Horror Appraisal. It's amazing to see somebody getting this movie made. It was fantastic, and would recommend it to you. And as always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and take care.